All right, a very warm welcome to One on One. Thank you very much for joining us. We have less than 15 minutes, but let's see what we can dig out of the 10 and more minutes that we have on One on One this time. We have none other than Tony Nsanganira, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture. Welcome to One on One.
Thank you, Eugene.
Right, Tony, very quickly, you have replaced Madam Agnes Karibata in this position. You are being mentioned among the new faces that have joined the cabinet in the recent government reshuffle. What do you bring on the table?
Well, first of all, there is a Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Gerardine Mukeshimana, who is the Minister.
Yes.
And I've been in the ministry for 5 months as permanent secretary, and I was now recently appointed as the Minister of State, meaning I will be working very closely with the new minister who was appointed also by His Excellency the President. So what I'm bringing to the table is simply to continue what has been built already by my predecessors, but also going forward, trying to even sustain more the agriculture sector that remains really one of the backbones of the country's economy in the social areas. Yes,
you've been the permanent secretary from around February this year, and this is quite a short time. If someone would do the maths in terms of jumping to this position that you're in today. What or why do you think that you got this recognition and got picked for this position?
Well, first of all, I'm not new in the sector. Before joining the Ministry of Agriculture as permanent secretary, I was at the Rwanda Development Board, and I was particularly involved in attracting private investments in the agriculture sector. So I've known, the agriculture sector for some time now, and my education background is also in agricultural economics. So, having been appointed by His Excellency, first of all, is a privilege. Someone else might have been appointed at that same position, but it's just to recognize the fact that if you are chosen to do the job, you just go and do it. And I want to make sure that I don't disappoint those who appointed me by trying to make a difference in making sure the agriculture sector keeps growing.
Yes, this is a sector that offers employment to over 80% of the population, and of course also one of the sectors that contributes majorly in the economy of the country. Therefore, demanding or needing a lot of support in terms of finance, in terms of education for those farmers out there. Let's look at the kind of commitment levels that have been put towards agriculture. What kind of budgetary support has been given in the agricultural sector today as we speak?
The agriculture sector is really big. Is one of the top priorities for the country. As you correctly said, it employs, now close to about 70% of the population. But it also generates now close to 50% of GDP if you consider primary agriculture, but also value-added agriculture.
Yes.
So it's really given value, and the budget ranges over the last 5 years or even more before that has been ranging between, 8 and 13% of the overall budget of this country, meaning that it's a sector that is really given resources, means to make sure that, we keep making sure that the country is food secure, but also that we keep even having the surplus that we can sell to various markets.
We have been having a problem of access to markets for those who are producing. We produce, but then exportation or also access to external markets have been a problem. How do we deal with this? As you come in, what are some of the things or the measures that you think are creative enough to handle this issue once and for all?
Well, to me, I don't think markets have been the biggest challenge. I believe that part of what we've been doing by creating a visibility of the country and its products and services across the world, both regionally but also internationally, we've been really able to get people to know about Rwandan products. I think what we are trying to achieve is to make sure that we have the right quality of the products that we want to sell outside, but also the volumes that are needed. Much as we believe that we can only play hard on the quality, because volumes, it would certainly be very difficult for Rwanda to compete with other countries across the world. So what I think is that markets are available. We just need to work hard in making sure that we have the right products for those markets. And this certainly requires quite a lot of efforts at the local level to make sure that our farmers do the right things, our exporters also are involved do the right things, You mentioned access to finance. We're working very hard with financial institutions to make sure that we have the right products for farmers and other people involved in agriculture. And I believe that building on what we've been doing over the years and continuing these efforts, putting even more efforts in this, we believe that the country will keep, making a difference. We've been exporting coffee and tea over the years. We want to be able to diversify and even export other agricultural produces, but also add value to the coffee and tea that traditionally have been, the only, agricultural produce we've been relying on over the years.
Let's move away a bit from office work and let's take your tie off and talk about Tony, the person himself, because there are those who don't really understand or know when you tell them that Tony is an usher at CLA Rwanda Church. Yeah. Tell us a bit about that. Are you still going to do this, or are you still doing this?
Well, I'm doing it, and I don't understand why people should be surprised. I do what I'm supposed to do at the office, making sure that I really contribute to those efforts of really a country that really wants to keep growing and really go where we want to be. But at the same time, out of the office, I have a number of other things that I deal with, including my family that it's important to take care of. But also, praying is one of the things that I also give some of my time. And that's why you see me, or you could see me at CLA ushering on Sundays. And, I also take time sometimes to meet my friends of CLA or any other friends to, just discuss about other things.
How much has changed in your life after this appointment was made?
Well, not much, I would say, at least in my personal life. I wouldn't see much change because
from the
as I said, I was ushering before.
Yeah,
I was ushering before. I'm still ushering, and I still have same friends. So just probably more work that I need to do to make sure that having been given that privilege by His Excellency the President, that I really try to contribute to what the country wants to achieve.
What would you tell in closing those farmers who feel left alone on their own to deal with themselves in terms of cultivating, to deal with themselves in terms of buying fertilizers, to deal with themselves in terms of harvesting? What would you tell them that would maybe probably give them hope that they're not alone?
I would tell them that we are together, that part of what we do at the ministry is to make sure that we are even closer to them. We've put in place systems, mechanisms, both at the central government level, at the ministry level, but we do also have offices across the country in different provinces. But we also build quite strong relationships with local government, because local government is much, much closer to them. What we are trying to do is to make sure that our relationships with local government that we keep building, get close to them and contribute them feeling that they are supported. But we also want them to own this process. We want them to feel that they also need to contribute in terms of making sure that they cultivate their crops on time, that they use inputs. And we're also working hard to make sure that these inputs get to them on time and they're at affordable kind of prices. And so we can only, I can on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, just ensure that or assure them that we will remain at their disposal to make sure that we keep building these relationships and achieve the agricultural targets that we have over the next years.
So what are the new immediate term things that you have set that are going to be done in the immediate term? Probably the things that, tell me anything that I don't know of that you're planning to do.
Well, I don't know if you would not know. I'm sure you know a lot, especially when it comes to these sectors. You talk to many people. But our priorities, which have been priorities over some time now, is to make sure that we keep increasing productivity of our produce. And I've just mentioned inputs. We are putting a lot of efforts in that, and we want to keep encouraging farmers to make sure they do that as they really increase their productivity. But we are also looking at the private sector. Having come from RDB, you would have probably been surprised if I had not mentioned the private sector. We want to be able to sustain the agriculture sector through a strong private sector that you want to bring on board. And we are in discussions. There are opportunities. I take this opportunity to say that, opportunities are many, and we want them to tap into these opportunities. We are here to create the right business environment for them to move into this. But we've also invested. I always say that we've invested heavily in this sector over the years as government, and this is the time for the private sector to take over, or as we start, we build strong partnerships and then expect that in a few years to come they fully take over and really run this sector that we see can really contribute heavily to the growth that the country wants to achieve.
All right. Tony, thank you very much for your time. This is all we had time to do because of starting up late. But of course, we're hoping that we'll get in touch and get to know you even better in the coming days.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That was Tony Nsanganira, our guest on One today. Thank you very much, Francois Gatete, and of course, all those who have been listening in right about now. My name is Eugene Anangwe, signing off. Bye-bye for now. Goodbye.